The following show features episodic breakdowns of Jackass, either performed by professionals or under the supervision of professionals. For your safety, avoid listening to this podcast at all times. Hi, I'm Mikey Aaronworth.
I'm Jason Wellwood.
And I'm Chris Aaronworth.
Welcome to Jackass.
Welcome to Jackass. It's the podcast where we're on a path of destruction through every single episode of Jackass.
We're just three lifelong fans of the show, reliving the belly laughs, bad ideas, and broken bones. And oh, did I say three people? We're actually two today, Jay, because Chris isn't going to be joining us. Chris, my brother, your co-host, he's going to be away actually for the next couple weeks. But we're going to go on in spite of him. And what he usually does is gives us the fact of the day, because this episode came out July 29th, 2001. And look at me, Jay, doing my research.
You're doing it. Oh, all right.
Guess what film came out? You're never going to guess what film came out this day. Actually, let's try this. The Venn diagram. You like the Venn diagram between fans of Oklahoma and Jackass, and we'll see if this works. We're going to have some film fans and see. This film, like I said, July 29th, 2001, premiered on this day, starring Anne Hathaway and Julie Andrews.
Huh.
And
I'm not as much of a film buff as you are. You're usually quick on these ones. I have no idea.
How about this? Because I know you're a wrestling fan, right?
All right.
Andre the Giant was in this movie.
Really? Oh,
yes.
This is okay. Really? Wow.
Oh wait, no, never mind. No, that's the Princess Bride. This is the Princess Diaries. This is the Princess Diaries.
Are you thinking about Andre the Giant or it was Paul White, The Big Show?
No. Andre the Giant was in Princess Bride. I'm thinking Princess Diaries, which is what actually came out, and Andre the Giant is not in that.
He would have been dead. That's why I was asking.
Yeah. And also the 88th Tour de France took place. Lance Armstrong was disqualified from it. And on this page where I'm looking at like this day,
wonder why.
I wonder why. Who knows? But there's a picture of him, and it's like to show you who Lance Armstrong is, and it says Lance Armstrong, and under his like occupation, cyclist and drug cheat. That's now what we think of him as, I guess. Holy moly.
Yeah, put that in the Hall of Fame. Man, I gotta say, I will miss not having Chris here, but you did a fine job today, Mikey. He's off in the jungle somewhere in Cambodia. Hopefully he makes his way
with
back.
The Wild Boys.
We sent him there with a spear and a couple O. Henrys, and hopefully he makes it out alive.
I can think of worse situations.
Yeah, me too. West Coast jazz fusion legend Gene Simmons here. He's Johnny Knoxville now. Welcome to Tongue Ass.
It's honestly, is it every tongue ass, like Jackass. Hey, very nice. Well done.
Big tongue.
That was one of those rare situations where if you didn't go I wouldn't have picked up on it. Sometimes that actually works. Apparently, I didn't know it does.
I needed to.
It's crazy how long his tongue is. What the fuck? How is that a thing? That is nuts.
Yeah, it is. It's like a big old slice of New York deep dish pizza. I want to take a bite. And how did they get Gene Simmons is also my next question, because he seems like the kind of guy who will only do things for money.
Yes.
And it seemed pretty casual. They just kind of had him in like someone's driveway, you know?
Well, you know what it probably was? Because I think everything he does is from his driveway. Like, I don't think he's traveling anywhere for any kind of marketing deal. Gene Simmons, the kind of guy who I'm sure he's a nice guy. In fact, actually, I've heard he's not, but he seems like such an asshole. I don't know if I'd ever want to meet the guy. Whatever, he's great with Kiss and all that stuff, but he just gives me that vibe of like a Simon Cowell without the awareness that like the bad boy thing is his own doing. I think that just comes too naturally to him. But there was the time when like Gene Simmons in Kiss was crossing over with Tony Hawk. So he was involved in the skateboard community and randomly, like tangentially. Yeah. Could have been something to do with that.
Yeah, he was in Tony Hawk 4. Wasn't Kiss in Tony Hawk 4?
Yeah, I think it was Tony Hawk 4. Yeah.
That made no sense. I don't even really like Kiss. I know there's people who are big fans of them. Never got it.
I've never gotten it either. Yeah.
I don't even think the music's that good, honestly. I was listening to some like Green Day because I was just feeling like I wanted some 90s punk. And
nice. Can't go
I saw they did a cover of Rock and Roll All Night, and I was just thinking, isn't this like, okay, I get Green Day is like a big, if you're thinking the punk rock ethic of never sell out all this bullshit.
Sure.
That's like that's like the furthest away from that you could go. Let's cover a Kiss song.
I know.
And it was Green. I just thought that was weird.
Green Day feels like that's a weird crossover. Green Day and Kiss. I don't know about that.
We're getting off track, but this episode is season 3, episode 8, the final episode of season 3. Side note.
No, there's one more episode of season 3.
We just haven't done it.
We just haven't done it yet. Yes.
Okay. We may or may not come back to that. There's some things around that. We won't get into specifics right now. That.
Oh, no. You're talking about Gumball Rally. Gumball Rally is season 3, episode 7, which we made the choice to skip past. They spend a lot of time in Russia. Is one of the reasons we just thought, we'd have to talk around it a little bit. So we figured we'd save it for another day. Chris loves the Gumball Rally. It'd be great to have him on that. But there is an episode 9 of season 3. So we have one more episode of Jackass.
Holy shit. All right. Well, that's cool because I just took for granted that these were all 8, one and done. Yes. That's the way it's always been. Don't fuck with me now. Let's move on and jump right into it. This is Bam with a paintball gun. He's got 20 shots in his gun, he tells us. And he's going to shoot Phil as soon as he gets home. Now, I got to ask, Bam, why not just do a whole hopper? Why are you limiting yourself to 20 balls? What's the point?
It's a good question.
I'm sure a paintball gun can hold a lot more than 20, but for whatever reason, that's what he's got. He shoots himself in the foot while he's waiting for Phil to show up.
Now he's got 19. Now he's got 19 left.
He's got 19.
Here's the thing, though, is part of me wants to believe that the reason why he's only got 20 in there is because deep down he does love his dad and he doesn't want to hurt his dad too much. 25, maybe something goes wrong. Maybe that 25th one hits him in the eye and now poor Phil can't see anymore. I thought that. Until when Bam's talking to the camera and he says, I've got 20 paintballs. He says, and he's going to fucking die. And Bam takes things to another. We talk about this, Jay, all the time where he says some things about his dad. And I'm just like, even as a joke, I could never say that about my dad. I don't know what it is. Like he just says those taboo things. I'm like, I don't know about that. He's going to die. Ugh. I wouldn't want to jinx the world with that.
Yeah, they have a strange relationship. It's very constrained. Bam feels like it. I can't say for sure, but from watching, it feels like they don't know how to communicate their feelings to each other as father and son. So instead, they say terrible things, and then once it goes too far, you see the wallpaper start to peel back a little bit, and there's a heart under there.
They've got a father-son relationship like a couple of grade schoolers. Like that doesn't seem healthy.
Yeah, totally. I got to tell a quick paintball story because when he shot himself in the foot, I immediately was transported back to when I was like 15 years old, and this is a memory I haven't thought about until I saw this. It just awakened that in me. We were out in the bush playing paintball. It was the first time I had bought a paintball gun. I saved up some money to get one and go out with my friends. We were playing with this rich kid who, of course, he had like one of those fucking, soft trigger, fully auto things. And I had like the Walmart $90. Every time you take a shot, it goes
off.
Ping. Yeah. And it's like piece of shit. But I remember we were all setting up and one of my good friends was he was sitting against a tree almost exactly like Bam sitting right now.
Yeah.
And the rich kid comes over and he's waving his gun around and he says, what do you think would happen if I shot you in the kneecap? He's like, well, it would probably hurt. And then, lo and behold, he shoots him in the kneecap from point blank because we're teenagers. We think that shit's funny. So my buddy's rolling around on the floor. The next day we get together and he shows us this welt that he has. It's like this perfect circle, this purple and kind of red purple circle right on his kneecap. And the line was, dude, that doesn't even look real. You probably just colored that in with a marker to make me feel bad. And I just, every time like when I saw Bam shoot himself, I just thought about him the next day, just coloring it in to make Phil feel bad.
That feels
Sharpie,
like that character of your rich kid friend that writes himself. That's just so, I was honestly like kneecaps creep me out. I always worry about like shattering. It just feels so fragile. So when you were telling that, I was like, it's going to break.
Dude. From point blank with the paintball, those things move fucking fast.
Yeah,
he was in quite a bit of pain.
I do love that though because Phil comes out and Bam obviously gets his licks in. He shoots him. He's shooting inside the car. This is clearly pre-Viva La Bam, and we know this because the year that it comes out, but also Phil has his old car still, which means that like. I don't think they know they have MTV money anymore. So when Bam's like fucking up his car and shooting in the inside of the windshield, Phil's probably just like, what fuck, dude? Like, I've got to clean this now.
Yeah.
I don't know if he felt it. He looked like the Hulk walking towards a hail of bullets. Like the paintballs were just like popping off of him. Like he didn't feel it. But once he started to shoot inside the car, I was like, no bueno, man, that's not cool.
Yeah, dude. And when you get off of work and you're just fucking done with your office job, you know, listening to Larry hanging his head over your cubicle and, you know, asking you if you watched fucking Survivor last night.
Oh, fucking Larry loves Survivor.
Bill getting voted out. And
Larry
you
loves
just don't
Bill
care.
from Survivor.
You just don't care. You just want to go home. And then Phil's, you know, he's tired. He walks back. He's a big guy. Walking long distances probably tires him out. He gets back to the van. He's not, last thing you want is paintballs getting shot at you and on your windshield. I feel for Phil in this one. I really do. And I mean, I don't think this is one that we need to rate. It feels like an interstitial. But I will say that, again, just to show Bam's character before, you know, it's all wrapped up, we got to get a close-up point-blank shot. And I immediately just, this story I just told you, it's like, Bam is that rich, spoiled kid who cares not for anyone else's feelings. Yeah. He's not empathetic. He just wants to look good in front of that camera. And that's why he shoots Phil point-blank in the foot. As he's trying to get into the van.
That to me was the funniest part of this sketch.
It was funny.
Bam has this weird thing, and he does this on Viva La Bam all the time, especially with Ape, where he makes an excuse and he says it as though it has all the merit in the world to like justify why he's doing something. And this one is like, I got shot in the foot. I was just testing it out. And then Phil's like, and he's like, it felt like this, and shoots him right in the foot for point blank. It was like, it's mean, but that was actually a really funny way to do it.
Yeah, definitely. I get it. But it's just, I'm just saying, that's Bam's character right there.
Yes, 100%.
You know, and the whole time he's doing the fucking intro to this thing, he's doing the side talking mouth to the camera. Yeah. He's doing the, you know, Phil's gonna get it. He's laughing at his own jokes. Man, I don't know.
Are you down on him? Are you down on him in this season?
I don't, like, I know he's going through a lot of shit in his life right now, and I don't want to just like keep kicking the guy when he's down. But like when I look back at Bam, I kind of feel like, dude, the place you're in now might be because of who you were, and you got to deal with that. I mean, I'm sorry.
That is the tragedy of Bam Margera is everything in his life, from the insane amount of fame to the how cool everyone thought he was, to the addiction, and to the sort of downfall that he experienced, or the difficulties that he experienced. They are all because he is who he is, all the good and all the bad. I agree with you. Like, but here's the thing: is in the first season or so of Jackass, do you remember us talking like, man, I forgot Bam was this badass? Because later in Jackass, he becomes like the cool guy, and that works for a lot of people, and he is really cool. But I did also forget that early on in Jackass, he was a badass. Like, he was hurting himself as much as anyone. He was putting himself through the ringer, taking on crazy stunts. And then you get to see like this kind of stunt where he's kind of coasting on his image alone and the coolness. And I don't like that version of Bam quite as much.
Yeah, no, I agree what you said. And I would go to bat for Bam as a badass, of someone who's done a lot of painful things and has stood up to the plate and did them. And not underplaying that at all. Like, he definitely deserves that recognition. But I don't know. We've watched a lot of Jackass, and it's like every time I see Bam now and he's doing that thing, it's just, it gets on my nerves a little bit. I don't know if anybody listening feels the same. Maybe you still think Bam is the coolest motherfucker. And if you do, hey, good for you.
More power to you. Yeah.
More power to you. But I don't know, man. Just, I don't know. Anyway.
You and I are on the same page, Jay. I totally agree.
Up next is water tubing. Yes. Oh, yeah. Johnny Knoxville out at the lake with who I can only assume is his stepfather driving the boat, because who else? This is Tubing to Vacation by the Go-Go's.
I was going to say, one of my first notes, love this song choice. It's awesome. This my second note, because this is basically all that happens in the stunt is them just tubing and sitting on the boat. In one of the more fun stunts I think that we've had in a long time, which I also think is kind of a theme of this episode, which we'll get into a little bit. But the other thing I could not get out of my mind watching this is, why is Johnny fully clothed? Why does he have street clothes on in a tube? Like, he's got his Converse sneakers on. He's got his jeans, like a plaid shirt like I'm wearing right now. I was like, dude, is there no bathing suit? Does MTV not have a budget for a bathing suit? Pontius knew what was going on. He's in there in like his Chippendale outfit. Everyone else seems to be there. I don't know. He just shows up and goes in there like he's going on a camping trip or something. It's bizarre.
Well, maybe Johnny's just a little body conscious. Give him a break.
Maybe.
He doesn't want to, he's the kind that goes into the hot tub with his long sleeve shirt on,
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
He's modest.
He's modest.
We got to say that, everybody's done this. And I think we've probably talked about this on the podcast before.
Tubing is great.
Tubing stories. Everyone has tubing stories, man. I can't think of the amount of times that I've been like flung off a tube 20 fucking feet into the air and smacked,
100%.
Onto my chest into a cold Canadian lake. It's a rite of passage, and I will never do that shit again as long as I live. My tubing days are done. I retired at like age 17. I'm good. I don't need any more of that.
I agree, man. It looks like harmless fun, but tubing can be so fucking dangerous. I don't want to be the guy like, I don't know, you kids, that's dangerous. Because I'm sure if I end up having kids, I'll take them tubing and I'll do what my dad did. I'll drive around in a big slow circle, get as much waves as I can, see which direction my kid is facing on the tube, bolt the boat as fast as I can into the opposite direction and drag him through the waves and let him just fly up. That's what my dad did to me. Yep. I'm going to do that to my kids. I might lose a couple in the process. I don't know. But it just feels like you have to do it. My friends and I used to have 2 tubes at the same time where that like same distance apart, and you guys would smack into each other. Someone landed on me in one, and then on the second go, the rope nearly took my head off. And that was the moment I said,
I was just going to say,
tubing. I'm done. I can't do this anymore.
That seems like a huge health hazard. Like someone's going to lose their head.
So dangerous. I never want to do it again.
Times were so different. And when you talked about how dads just instinctively know there's got to be something that turns on in our primal brain when they're behind the wheel of a boat and they got a kid in a tube. That's the strategy. Yep. Gun it, get a big wake, turn, hit the wake.
The opposite direction and just let the kid go flying. You get whiplash, you get sent 12 feet in the air. It's dangerous. But what I liked about this one is that wasn't even the point of this one. They weren't trying to hurt each other. They were just going off stunts. Really. Everyone's laughing. It's like they all realized, like they all had this handshake agreement. Let's just kind of take this one easy. We'll have a great time, and it'll be a stunt where no one gets hurt and we all just enjoy ourselves. There was one moment when Wee Man is about to go off of a ramp and Pontius is there in his Chippendale outfit, which for a second I thought he was wearing the puka shell necklace, but it was just like the collar like a Chippendale would wear. And Wee Man misses the ramp. The boat goes on the other side of the ramp and Pontius has to jump over the rope of the attaching the boat to the inner tube. And I'm like, if that hits him, that's taking a fucking leg off like that. Yeah. Again, maybe it's just me in my older age, but I'm so concerned about the safety of people when they're using inner tubes. It seems spooky.
Yeah. Yeah. It looks like so much fun because it seems harmless. You're in the water, it's water sports. You'll be fine. But yeah, there's some hazards for sure. What would you rate this if you had to give this sketch a rating? I think it's pretty meaty that we could give it a number. You
know what? Okay, so I'm gonna give this one a rating that I don't think Johnny Knoxville could say after this one, because at one point he puts the rope in his mouth and is holding on by that, which was absurd. I couldn't believe he did this. But so I'm gonna give this a 7 out of 10.
7. All right.
A 7 out of 10.
Very creative. I did not prepare. I did not come up with any, clever theater of the mind here. Water tubing was all right, but probably just a 4 because I don't know. I've been tubing and I don't know. Like
I get it. No, I think
more in an
like
episode of Jackass.
I think you and I like this one for different reasons. I like it because they didn't try to do anything with it and it was just friends being pals. But also I understand why someone might want more out of that.
And Chris is somewhere, as I mentioned, in a jungle in Cambodia. It's probably about sundown over there. So he's at this moment probably banging 2 rocks together and attempting to get a fire going.
Yes.
On his behalf, do you want to give? Do you want to pick a rating for Chris?
Yeah, we're gonna give this one an inner tube out of 10.
There you go. All right. And best of luck, Chris. I hope you survive the night and make it back to us soon. SteveO is here. He's fallen asleep in the van, and it looks like Knoxville's going to pretend that they're just at the precipice of a car crash. He's going to scream and yell and wake SteveO up. I don't think SteveO really realizes what's going on. He kind of just smiles at him and goes back to sleep.
But this may be one of, because this is now a very common prank. This is one of the first cases of it I've ever seen. So good on them for doing it. It's basically someone asleep. The other person screams as though they're about to get in an accident. And then the person wakes up and everyone has a good time. Simple, fun, to the point, great interstitial.
Yep, that's right. And the PTSD diarrhea will come days later. Sculpture Garden is up next. Pontius is painted up like a statue and blending in with the scenery at the local park. People actually do this, right? This isn't just a Jackass sketch. I mean,
it is, unless they got the idea from Jackass. Usually people, but they have they set themselves up as though it's in a specific place that would be a statue, and then people they stand still and they scare people and people give them money. This one was funny though. It was Pontius dressed up kind of in all the bronze of a statue, like a weathered statue. It looked like they were in France or something like that, somewhere in Europe for sure. And he would just pose at different points in the garden. I didn't know what to think of it when it first started. I thought there was a lot of potential. I know that this season Pontius has been a little bit less talkative towards the camera. And I wonder if some of that is because he's in his kind of cool kid phase where he's like what he does to the camera now is he flexes. He doesn't make jokes as much anymore. And I worry that this would be a little bit too much bravado, but he was back to his fantastic bullshit on this one. I loved it.
Yeah, definitely. He does, get a little silly too. He's running, chasing after kids, and he goes all scary monster on them, and just he's yelling at them.
Did you hear Kosick behind the camera when he was chasing the kids up?
Yeah, he's telling them to leave them alone.
He's like, don't touch them. He's like, just don't touch them. Because he's like, he sees there's a lawsuit on his hand, and one kid ends up crying, which is hilarious.
People were so. They got that it was a joke. You see the mom after give the kid a hug, and she's laughing, she's smiling. You do that today, and you made someone's kid cry, they'd be getting up in your face, and
it's very possible. There were some points which I liked. And I like in some of these Jackass sketches earlier on, because it was before pranks were a really big thing, especially in the earlier seasons, where people are just so confused as to what's happening. Like when Pontius follows a guy in a business suit onto a boat, and the guy looks at him like, what could this possibly mean? This wasn't in the cards when I've taken this route into work for the last 20 years and no statues have fallen me. He just cannot comprehend what's happening to him. And I like that. It's typical. This is always a fun process in a Jackass sketch where it starts with an idea, it goes right, it goes wrong, and then it starts to devolve. And when it starts to devolve into Pontius just chasing people, I was actually totally cool with it. This is, believe it or not, one of my favorite Pontius sketches. In spite of the fact that he's not really saying anything to the camera, you just really get that silliness and childlikeness out of him instead of kind of that bravado Pontius that we've had this season. It was fun.
Right on. Yeah, I didn't mark it down for rating on this one because it's pretty short and sweet, but it was fun. It was fun to see him doing something a little bit different for sure. And speaking of something quite the opposite of something a little bit different, yes, we're rolling out an old sketch. It's the return of Night Monkey with the sequel, Night Monkey 2. And this time, we've got the whole crew on board, including Brad Pitt, according to the subtitles. Everybody's in a different monkey costume, different colors, you name it, all different species here on board today, boys. Multiple monkeys. And I see that the original Night Monkey must have been getting busy in his off time, if you know what
He's gotten some offspring now, yeah.
No. It's tax season, Mikey.
Oh, it's tax season?
Yeah, taxes.
Oh, of course he's getting busy. Yes. No, I agree. He's got a lot of responsibilities. And he's got also, listen, his job, his professional job of wreaking havoc in the nighttime, as he is a night monkey. That's a title, not his actual name. I think his name is Clarence. He's got to write off quite a bit. All the damage to the city. Someone's got to pay for that. His company pays for it, but then he's got to recoup some of that in taxes. That's just how it works. He's a busy man.
You think you can write off feces?
I know I've tried. And I know I've also tried to write my tax forms with feces, right. And it's not always worked. Sometimes it has. They refuse to take a look at it, and then I just don't pay any taxes, and I can't imagine that's ever going to come back to haunt me. But it turns out sometimes they don't like that quite so much. Yeah.
Interesting.
You know what distracted me in this sketch more than anything, more than conversation about feces and taxes? Like you said, title card. Bam Margera runs out of the van.
Right.
The next title card, Brad Pitt. I'm like, there's no fucking way. He's in a monkey costume.
How do you know? We didn't actually see who was behind the mask.
So I was looking at the color of the monkey outfits and trying to see what this person was willing to do. SteveO's monkey outfit was a similar color to Brad Pitt's, but you also got Pontius and Knoxville in there as well. And they're just wreaking havoc. Sometimes they're hurting themselves. Sometimes they're in the shopping carts. But it turns out this was actually Brad Pitt.
No, was it? Are you serious?
I know. I couldn't believe it, and that's what distracted me. But if you pay close attention, there's one scene towards the very end of it where one of the monkeys is like rolls over on the ground, like just got hurt or something, and he pulls his mask off, and it's actually Brad Pitt. And then the other time, it's a monkey pushing another monkey in a shopping cart against, I think it was SteveO in the shopping cart with full of bananas, and the camera stays on him, and he takes the mask off, and it's fucking Brad Pitt.
Okay, I didn't even notice that. I didn't even notice that. I think I was too busy taking notes, so that's a fail for me for sure. But holy shit, that's pretty cool. But
yeah,
I guess at the time he would have been, obviously, like, he was a lot younger, so I feel like him wanting to do this type of thing as an actor makes sense because it was a phenomenon. Like, it was a pop culture thing. This is after
Fight Club. Like, he's enormous. Like, he's enormous at this point. This is post Fight Club Brad Pitt.
He's also not so big and established, and he's not in his more mature Brad Pitt phase where he may turn something like this down or not have the time for it. So I guess I could see it.
It's cool to see him in it. I just imagine that if you're like his agent or his management team, like, you get insurance. You get insurance in every contract you do with like a movie that you're filming. And usually the contracts will say something like, you can't go skiing, you can't go snowboarding, no extreme sports, because if you get hurt in the process of filming shuts down. So they have to take insurance out and all this stuff. I imagine someone saw this after the fact and said, Brad, what the fuck were you thinking? You're Mario Karting down the streets of LA at this point. What if you get arrested? What if you get hit? He gets bowled over by a go-kart at one point. Like, that can't be good for the movie.
Maybe Gene Simmons had a coupon, like pay for the full price of admission for a video op with Gene Simmons, get 50% off a Brad Pitt appearance. He's a businessman after all. I could see, a little incentive to make those sales.
He's bundling himself up. The only other thing I want to say about this one, because it's this one's just fucking havoc the whole time, eh? Like, it doesn't stay too long on anything, and I think that's the way it should be filmed. But there's one part where the monkeys are like going crazy near a gas station,
right?
And to us now, it's funny to see, but imagine late at night, you're the only one at a gas station, and a bunch of hooligans in monkey costumes start screaming and kicking over cans and stuff. That would scare the shit out of me. I'd be convinced I was about to die, like some Clockwork Orange bullshit.
Yeah, like a gang of monkeys just terrorizing the city at night.
Exactly.
I think I'd feel the fear. Hey, is it weird to you that we're seeing 20-year-old bananas on screen here? Like, those of which have now long since biodegraded and like they've returned to the earth to become a tree or a bush or more bananas.
That's a good point. I never thought about that. I never thought about that. Those are all old. We're watching the now Ghosts of Bananas.
Yes.
And Ghosts of Bananas was my old high school book of poetry, actually.
It was a little disturbing for me. I had to take pause at that moment, which is fine because nothing brings me back to reality like honoring Canada's fourth national sport, just underneath lacrosse, hockey, and everybody's favorite redneck nephew toss. This is ice block skating.
Ice block skating, dude. I was all about this one. I was all about this. Like, here's the thing. Usually before the episode, you and I have a conversation of like which stunts we want to rate, which ones we don't, which ones we can skip through. So like, which are the more substantial ones? And this one, we usually try to keep it around like six stunts, because that's good. This one was so hard because everything was kind of simultaneously an interstitial and not an interstitial. And I found that kept the pace of this going up. Like we could have reviewed Night Monkeys. We could have reviewed The Statue. We could have reviewed Ice Block. All of them are kind of both stunts and non-stunts. So we kind of, mixed and matched what we want to do. But this one, similar to like ski scooter, the snow scooter, I could have seen way more of this one or any of Dave England's mountain ones. I loved it. Did you like this one as much as I did?
Yeah, I had fun watching this. It looks like something I'd like to try. And it really is. It's short and sweet. It's quick. Nothing really stands out, but the guys are all having fun and laughing at each other. And I don't think I liked it as much as the time Ryan Dunn got his nutsack stuck to the block of ice, but it was good. It was good.
It was so actually to clarify, they basically what they do is they have these weird contraptions. They've retrofit ski boots, and to the bottom of the ski boots they put actual blocks of ice, and they ride those blocks of ice down a hill. And you got SteveO doing it, Dave England doing it, Johnny Knoxville's doing it, Danger Ehren's doing it. There's one clear standout in this one, and it's Dave England. He's really good at this somehow. I have no idea how, but he's really good at it.
Well, he's a snowboarder, right?
Yeah.
So I think
but so is Danger
advantage.
Ehren. So is Ehren, right? And Ehren seems to, he can't seem to get it. And he knows it. I love the way this stunt ends. He's walking back up the hill, and he says to the camera, he's like, there's clearly someone who's the best at this one. It's me. And I'm like, yeah, you're 100% right. You were nailing it. It looked like he just couldn't fall on them. It was really impressive. And SteveO was the opposite.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he did terrible.
He just kept, he would get
right
up,
on his ass too.
On his ass and his head. He would fall on his ass, get up, fall on his head, get up, fall on his ass, get up, fall. It looked like he was in a video game glitching out. It was hilarious.
Yeah, it looks like a good time at the old grass hill, but we got to move on back into the urban environment because we got one more little clip that didn't make it into Pontius's statue routine. He's just going to stand in the middle of a crosswalk and block a large bus because someone put a statue right here, goddammit, and we are not going to disrupt that. Yeah,
he just stops,
fun.
poses in front, gets honked at. It was great.
Yeah, this is a character, by the way, that I don't think we see again in Jackass, but the many characters of Pontius.
I don't think we do either. No.
Yeah, this is kind of like a, I don't know, something you would find in like a bargain bin somewhere later. Like if they made action figures of Pontius, this would be like one that
I was going to say it's like
rare supply.
When you go to the dollar store and you get like superhuman instead of Superman or like awesome man, it's like not quite Superman. It's like this isn't quite Pontius. It's like I like that. I like that idea.
I don't know what your problem with Awesome Man is. I had the whole collection growing up as a child, but
he doesn't have ice breath. He just has like pretty cold breath. He doesn't have laser vision. He just can stare daggers at you.
Yeah, he's got factory rubber breath. Kind of smells a little bit like China somewhere.
He's got a he's faster than a speeding paintball, not quite a bullet.
Yeah, exactly. But hey, you want to talk about speed? There is absolutely zero speed in this next sketch, which would suggest otherwise. It's BMX polo. Not many rules here. Just hit the ball through the posts with your mallet as you ride on a BMX bike. And I gotta say, shout out to Phil Margera as the referee here. Alternate costume unlocked. He's looking great. If this were WWF No Mercy on the N64, Phil would be my special guest referee in every match.
Every single match. And he's, MTV could have blown their budget a little bit more and got him an outfit that fits. This covers half of his belly.
Half the gut.
Maybe half.
But he was wearing a white t-shirt underneath, so I give him, bonus points for trying. I got to ask if any of those t-shirts had hamburgers on them, but
I would love to know. No, this is pre Viva La Bam. I couldn't imagine they did, unfortunately. I was super excited, though, because you see Johnny introduce this one, BMX Polo. Simple premise, they're on a BMX and they're playing polo, so bikes instead of horses. But after he introduces it, then it shows Phil, and I realized, holy shit, we finally get some Johnny and Bam crossover in this one. Even though I, for the life of me, could not figure out who was in this one and whose team they were on. I know Johnny's in it, I know Bam's in it, I know Deco's in it. I couldn't tell whether Bam, I think he was in the white outfit, not the blue, but I couldn't figure out who the other person was. Maybe Ryan Dunn, but you don't see their face because they're wearing helmets and they don't give them a title card.
Yeah, and it's messy. Like just the chaos on screen is a little messy.
Oh yeah.
And speaking of the chaos, I mean, there's not really much of a game happening here either. I mean, like everybody's hitting each other, they're tackling Phil. Shots with mallets to kneecaps and things like that. It's getting out of hand real fast. I got to say, Phil, you are doing a terrible job.
Terrible job as a ref.
As much as I vouched for you, I don't know, after watching this performance.
It's funny though, because after the first face off, they're kind of trying to play a sport. And all I was thinking was like, how long until they're just whacking ankles with mallets? And by the third face off, they're kicking helmets, slashing ankles, tackling Phil. And I actually loved that chaos. Similar to like the de-evolution of a stunt like we had with Pontius's, where he starts chasing kids around. You clearly got that in this one. And I thought there was enough there to make me laugh. I just really would have liked to have known who was who a little bit more. I couldn't believe, even after rewinding, I couldn't piece it together.
Yeah. And I think with this sketch too, it's like you said, you couldn't really piece it together. It's a little disjointed. And I'm going to jump right into my rating based on that. Because of the disjointedness, it is fun to see them kind of just devolving into chaos and just saying, fuck the rules. It's just, beat each other up. That is fun, but I think it fell apart as a sketch. So in honor of Phil's referee t-shirt, which was 3 sizes too small, a 3 out of 10.
Wow. That's so low. I this wasn't amazing, but I definitely don't think it deserves that low because I kind of, as I've said before, I like to grade it where 5 is sort of average, like down the middle. I'm going to give this one a 6 out of 10. I think it was slightly above average, but nothing to write home about.
Okay, fair enough. This next one, though, was something that I did not expect to see. SteveO in uniform. That is a rarity. This is the security guard. SteveO is going to run around Albuquerque, New Mexico, pretending that he is a man of the people, a protector of the people, everybody's favorite officer in uniform, of course, a security guard. He's just going to get people to, do things like, hey, sir, could you move over just a little bit? Because apparently where that man was standing was...
just couldn't be standing there.
You just couldn't be standing there. And
those weird little things were great.
It's very improv, though, this whole thing. Like, he doesn't seem to have a plan for what he's doing. He's just finding situations. And, the best is when he encounters another security guard, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because, of course,
they're pulling the Spider-Man meme. They're pointing at each other. And then they call a third security guard over to figure out who's telling the truth.
It's they just gravitate towards each other. It's hilarious. It's like... What are the odds, too, that would happen? Because they have this little interrogation where, they're trying to determine... You can kind of tell there's a social game going on here beneath the surface. Is this guy actually a security guard?
I know.
And they're asking these non-direct questions to try to get SteveO to reveal his cover here and blow it. And it's just... It's funny. It's fascinating.
This is the most personality we've seen from SteveO this season. And it makes me remember why I loved him so much in season 2, because he's so good at this. Like you said, that weird interaction between the security guards where one guard is like, he's not supposed to be here yet. He's not willing to say he's not one, but he's like, it's not his shift. And he's like, well, you're not supposed to be here past 5 o'clock. And yet here we are. Who knows what's going wrong? It was great. The one thing I'll say, and we've been throwing this SteveO guy's name around, but it wasn't SteveO. This was Sergio Pawalski, which is the greatest improvised name I've ever heard in my entire life. Sergio Pawalski. And Sergio eventually finds his way into a golf cart. Because he convinces the person there that guy's going to be training him. And when he gets into the golf cart, what does that guy tell him?
I don't even remember. What does he tell him?
That it's his first day on the job.
Oh, okay. There you go. I didn't get that.
They're like, why did you... He's like, wait, they told you I was supposed to train you? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, it's my first day. And then SteveO's like, oh, that management, they don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah. But it works to his credit, because if this is this guy's first day, perfect. You've just struck gold, SteveO. You can totally get away with what he's about to do next, which is it doesn't take long for him to ask, can I drive this thing? Of course, the trainee's going to say, guy's first day on the job. Yeah, of course. Give him a shot at it, right? So they go into a parking lot. He's asking him, how does it handle these speed bumps? He's just flooring it over the speed bumps, Just being a real knob.
It's a typical like you would write in a sitcom. How's it handle the speed bumps? He's like, well, it doesn't handle them very boom, and he just you can hear the go-kart barely make it over the speed bump. It's like, oh man, you can't write it better than that.
Yeah, it was great, and although nothing outrageous happens, he doesn't start throwing up on anybody or swallow any live creatures. It's a different side of SteveO that I appreciated. He was trying his improv chops a little bit. I think sometimes he fell flat, but there were some good moments here, for sure. And at the end of the day, he walks away laughing back to the van that had been tailing them with the camera the whole time. And he's losing it. You could tell he's even blown away himself at how far he got. I assume this was going to be, in his mind, another squid suit equivalent that, we'll try it, but it's probably not going to work out. And I think, given the circumstances, they pulled off a pretty good one here.
I think so too.
Yeah.
You want to give this one your rating?
Yeah, for sure. I was just going to say with this one, again, like I just mentioned, They pulled it off, but it doesn't go to that next level that I wanted it to. So unfortunately, I can't go too high, but I did appreciate seeing SteveO do something different, step out of his comfort zone. So out of everything we've seen so far, I think this is the highest for me. I'd give it a 5.5 out of 10.
Nice. Yeah, I obviously I'm not as hard a marker as you are. I do agree, though. It doesn't quite reach that height. I feel like it, and I don't, even when I say this, I don't know what else they could have done, but I feel like he was still so tentative. Like if he went back and did this knowing the power that he had, I think it would have been even funnier, but I'm giving this one a 6 out of 10.
Okay, perfect. Oh, wait, hold on. There's a bird flying in my window here.
There's a bird flying in your window.
What's this?
What is that? Is it a plane?
It's carrying a rolled up piece of paper. Hold on.
Oh, that sounds like a very wet piece of paper.
Yeah. Actually, I don't think this is saliva, Mikey, but it came from your brother. And look, it says send help, tiger attack. The rest of it's nonsense. I can't make it out, but
wow, he was able to write tiger attack while being attacked by a tiger.
I guess so. I mean, but we can't assume that's what happened. I don't have
Maybe he's pranking us. Maybe he's pranking us.
He could be pranking us. So Chris, 4 out of 10. Okay,
sure. We'll give it a 4. One for each of the limbs he's going to lose to that tiger.
Hey, there it is. you and your connection making over there. All right. Listen, we got to say goodbye to SteveO, the security guard. Will we see him again? Probably not. I think that was a once-off. But you know what we will see again? Some more Canadian winter sports, goddammit.
Hell yeah.
This is Ice Craze. We're hitting the hockey rink, and we've got a variety of shit going on here. This is just a mixed bag of things you can do on ice, I guess. We got Ryan Dunn and his chainsaw. It looks like he's making an ice sculpture. At least that's what I thought initially.
Yes.
Bam on a BMX bike. And a naked Rab, which I got to say, out of all the guys doing dangerous things on ice, Rab is, even though he's not using a tool or an apparatus of some sort, he's just himself on skates. I would never, ever be naked on ice after, when I was a kid, man, and I stuck my lips to the pole of the, playground equipment in -30. I learned real fast that you don't
Did you actually do that? Like,
you don't want
a fucking
damp
Christmas
skin.
Story.
Oh, dude, I fucking did it. My lips ripped right off. I was bleeding. I looked like, you remember back in the WWF Attitude Era days where when Edge was a vampire? You remember that?
Oh my God.
Edge and Christian, they were vampires.
God, yes.
It was like a fucking bloodbath, baby. I was just covered head to toe. But yeah, Rab doing this, like I was saying, wet, damp areas of the body have a tendency to stick to ice. And factor in that he's got blades on his feet. That's a dangerous combination.
I'd rather be using a tool than risking mine on the ice. I agree 100%, but good on him. He's owning it. I mean, it's one of the things where we always talk about, what happened to Brandon? You don't see him in Jackass anymore. And we know after Jackass Forever that Rab kind of relinquished himself to a behind the camera personality. Good on him, but I do miss him. He's great. He always came in with this weird chaotic energy that I always really appreciated. And I think that this stunt had a ton of chaotic energy to it as well. It's clear here that this is kind of why in the barrel jumping stunt that we had from a while back, at the beginning of it, Bam Margera brings out a skateboard with kind of like meant for an ice rink. And we're like, why didn't he ride that around more often? I would have liked a whole stunt just like that. Well, now we know why, because he did, and he used it for this one here. His skateboard stunts were amazing. The bike that was meant for the ice clearly didn't work quite as well. But the skateboarding on ice with that custom skateboard was awesome.
That was cool. I totally agree. He does pretty well. But yeah, it is, like I said at the outset of this one, it's just a bunch of random shit, just guys having fun on the ice. So I don't think it really needs a rating. We could probably just move right on.
The one thing I want to point out, because you mentioned you saw Ryan Dunn carving ice. Did you pick up on what that actually was?
Well, yeah, they ended up using the block as to build a makeshift ramp, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck is that?
He clearly failed, and they just said, fuck it. We got to use this for something, so... Yeah.
And then you see everyone in the stands, like all of Bam's family is there in the stands. Like, this is a family outing. Like, do you want to go get ice cream? No. I want to go watch my son and his naked friend dance around the ice for an hour and a half. Like, it was, I don't know, I guess that's what you do in Westchester, Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess now, we thought it was all fun and games and innocent when we saw Don Vito in the stands with the family video camera until you realize that you got a naked teenage boy out there.
Zoomed in on Rab the whole time.
Anyway, yeah, that'll be a fun family home video watch session. Man, yeah, that's that sketch. You got to move on, though, to some more extreme winter sports because, hey, this episode is just chock full of those. And I got to say, every time that Dave and Aaron hit the slopes and they come up with some amalgamation of snowboarding or skiing, I'm just blown away by their creativity. And here, I almost questioned if I liked this more than the ladder on skis because this was such a simple concept that anybody could think of, but nobody has. It's tandem snowboarding, double bindings fastened to one snowboard, and the boys just have to find a way to share the board down the hill, and it's hilarious. This was probably my favorite part of the entire episode.
I agree, man. I loved this one. There is a part coming up that was my favorite, but it wasn't even the full sketch. But this one, you know, I agree that as a full experience, this was better than the ladder snowboarding. But that's only because they barely gave us anything in the ladder snowboarding. If they gave us a full 3 minutes of it, I'd be happier with it. But this was so much fun. I mentioned earlier how you get these stunts like Pontius's in BMX polo, where it starts with a concept and then it just devolves completely from there.
Yeah.
That's one version of a Jackass stunt. The other version is when it starts with a concept and it's chaos in the beginning because they have no idea how to make it work. And then the stunt becomes about mastering it. And this is typical of like a lot of Danger Ehren stunts. You think about like the downhill scooter, a lot of his like tests and stuff is him getting good at the thing and finally perfecting it. And you get that in this one. Like they start off so bad at this and it's hilarious because they fall and the slope is steep enough that they can't stop. Neither of them can stop it. So they just keep going down. There's one moment where they kind of have some momentum and they end up turning towards the trees. And then both of them try to bail at the same time because they're going to go straight into a tree.
Yeah.
But then by the end, they're like hitting jumps and turning at the same time, like professional snowboarders would be able to figure out. I fucking loved this one, man. I had such a good time with it.
Yeah, no, totally. And that is the path to mastery right there. Yeah. It's just trying everything you can in a new arena of whatever it is that you're doing that has never been done before until you figure out, okay, this is the way forward. And for a sketch that you could have just, you know, tried a handful of times and gave up pretty quickly after it wasn't working, they made it to a successful state. And that's really cool to see. It's part of the reason I like it because you can even see the techniques as they're going along. Like they start off with crisscross legs. So they kind of like crisscross the legs to strap in. Then that's not working. So they do one behind the other. Kind of like a doggy style, if you will. And then my favorite though was the squat over, where they had one guy squatting down and the other guy standing like over him and strap it in. And yeah, it was fun to see all the ways they could think of to make this thing work. And I applaud them for trying it. And again, it turned out to be the surprising standout for me personally of this episode. What
I totally agree
for a rating on this one?
You know what? It's kind of amazing that I'm going this high. I feel like a broken record. I would have loved a little bit more talking to the camera, but it's clear we're just not getting that anymore in Jackass from Dave England. But even still, I'm going to give this one an 8 out of 10. I think it's just Dave and Aaron, Dave England and Danger Ehren, just giving us the best versions of themselves as athletes and as people who are willing to risk their bodies. And in spite of the fact that they had some good content, continued to try to make the stunt work.
Yep. I agree, man. It was a success. They tried their hardest. They persevered. And like I already said, a standout for me, a surprise hit. So let's give this the old Eric Lindros. Make this an 8 out of 10.
Hey, well done.
Baby.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. Now who's got the hockey knowledge? Maybe
Eric Lindros. I like it.
Maybe I should do the sign off. Huh? How about that?
Yeah? my other podcast, the sign off framework podcast.
Man, this has been a fun episode, and I think you mentioned something earlier in this episode here. It feels very chock full of these interstitial type things that we don't tend to rate in shorter sketches, but for some reason it is working really well here. And the trend continues all the way to the end just about. This next one features Rick Kosick. He doesn't get a lot of time to feature in sketches, so it was fun to see him do something different here. This is the Toupee. Now, before we decide like the whole idea for the sketch had come around, they actually were just sitting around in the casting room there talking about, hey, you should shave your head. And of course he's denying it. He's saying, no, I would never do that. I don't want to do that. Tremaine's like, you look good bald. Or you know that. You know that.
Yeah,
you basically
how
have
does
to
he
do
know
it.
that?
Yeah, that was lost on me too. But Johnny pipes in and says, well, how about this? Let's turn it into a sketch. You go around town, you're wearing a toupee, and you're losing it all over the place in front of people. You sneeze it off or you slip or whatever. And that's all it takes for him to agree. They're at the barbershop in the next segment, and they cut his hair off so that he looks like that dude from The Office. You know the one I'm talking about?
Kevin?
Kevin? Yeah.
Yes.
He's got the what do you call that? The halo of hair. They didn't go completely bald. They left the hair around
he looks like the back half of a monk's haircut, right?
There
like
you go.
The front, like he's about to brew us some beer or something like that.
He
Take
has
a vow of
aged
silence.
like 35 years just by getting this haircut. Holy crap. It's incredible. He looks like a completely different man.
I agree. I think that was the best part of the sketch for the most part, was them convincing him to, because again, anytime you get the Jackass crew just talking to one another as friends, that's when you get some of the best content in them. It's clear they're convincing him to do something that they don't think is going to be a good idea, but they just want to see him shave his head. And when he's got his head half shaved, he's already got the halo on, everything on the top is shaved. He's still got the stuff on the sides and the back. And Johnny says, if you want to back out, that's fine. As if there's like any way he can back out at that point. It's great, man. It's fantastic. But I do think the prank is kind of the worst part, with one exception.
Okay.
There's a point in this one when a guy's walking, like he's standing at a crosswalk and the guy's walking towards him, and Rick sneezes and his toupee falls off, and the guy right angle turns away from him. He changed his plans for the day and just walked off in a different direction because of that sneeze. Like, that is the definition of the butterfly effect. Like, the dude went off to a completely different place. He probably met his wife that way. He tells his kids the story about how their life never would have been the same if this guy with the toupee didn't sneeze it off. He just changes his entire life, took a different track because he didn't want to deal with the fact that he was walking towards someone who sneezed his toupee off. It was great.
Yeah, okay, sure. Give the sketch, maybe it doesn't deserve a whole lot of credit for being, a standout, but I think you're right. The toupee thing really did seem to touch a lot of lives, because there's also that other lady that she screams like she was about to get run over by a car when this thing flies off. I think she might have thought that the man just sneezed his brain right out of his skull or something, because the way she reacted was just like, it was like a 10 when it should have been like a 3. And I just found that funny. But you're funny. Right.
There were a couple, like, really, you only get like four instances of it. And I just couldn't help but think, like, Rick, was it worth it? You had 45 seconds on camera sneezing your toupee off, and you had to shave your head into that haircut because of it. That to me is the prank, is that they got him to shave his head. So good on him for playing along, but I'd be pretty bummed out if I shaved my head and got 45 seconds in a Jackass episode because of it.
Yeah, no, you're totally right, though. There's like a whole meta thing going on here. It's like the guys knew, oh, this isn't really about the toupee thing. We just want to get him to shave his head. And as the viewer, you kind of pick up on that as well. And it is.
Yes.
It is funny. Do you think that this is worthy of extra points in a rating due to the fact that after the sketch is over, he's walking around like this for the next however long it takes to grow back,
Yes, because if you choose to see this as a prank on Rick, then the prank is that, kind of like SteveO with his eyebrows. The prank is that every time you see him in every other episode, he's not going to have eyebrows in SteveO's case, or he's not going to have a full head of hair in Rick's case.
And sadly, they do say at the beginning of this one, when they're planning, that they say to Rick, come on, this is the end of the season, or this is the last episode. So I think that means we won't get to see him like walking around behind the scenes with this haircut, unfortunately. Yeah. Which is a shame. That's too bad. But I think for a rating on this one, for me personally, it was a good idea that, again, if you're going to go this far to do something like this, I think you got to find another way to make it stand out just a little bit more, whatever that is. I don't even know what that is. I'm not very helpful. But
sure.
Out of everything I've saw so far, I think this did better than, say, BMX Polo for me, but not quite as SteveO as in the security guard. I'd give it a 4 out of 10.
Wow, man, you are a hard marker. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, man. Like, it's good that they got him to cut his hair. Don't get me wrong, but like, don't you feel like it was lacking? Like they could.
No, I do. And
so
here's, I know you're saying you're not sure what could have fixed it. I do.
Okay.
What I want is a scene like the pube beard with Aaron McGahey, where it clearly shows like have Rick taking part in the stunt, and then the camera just turns to look at everyone behind the scenes laughing, like not even like have him out of focus, have the focus be everyone laughing at his haircut while he goes to do the stunt that he thinks they were filming for the show, and it turns out they were just filming themselves laughing at his new haircut. That would have been really funny to me, or at least a couple of those moments. But still, I enjoyed it. I love the fact that he had to walk around like that. This again, I read as a prank on him, not so much a prank on the people who are in it, like the bystanders. I'm giving this one a 6 out of 10.
Fair enough. And I said that this episode kind of was a collection of interstitials and smaller things. This feels like the meat on the bones here. This is something that obviously took a little more planning. It's got improvisation, acting, and it's got an element of surprise and interacting with the public as well. So this is one of those Jackass stunts that you can imagine they had the drawing board out in the meeting room there, and they were trying to get all the angles right before they went into it. This is the bloody carpet. The idea here is that they've got this apartment, and they're trying to get a carpet cleaner to come over, and they're basically just trying to get a reaction out of this guy. There's a huge blood stain on the carpet that is splashed up onto the wall behind it, and they're basically just going to...
handprints and everything, right? Like it's very clear that this is a human blood stain.
And I love when they get the guy in here. He's looking at the thing. He's like, what happened here? And they say, oh, I think my roommate's dog is in heat or something like that. That's the excuse they go with. And we hear a chainsaw upstairs like right away. Like it doesn't take long. And the dude doesn't really react, the carpet cleaner. He's kind of just, I think he's trying to take it all in still. He's trying to, put the information together. His brain's kind of going, okay, what is this? Am I being played here? Is this dangerous? He's not quite sure yet, but to his credit, he's sticking with it. And before
I'm of two minds. I'm of two minds in here because this takes place in stages, and it's all the stages of like his being the carpet cleaner's reaction to the events that are going on. One, he probably cleans up blood a lot in his line of work.
Okay, fair enough.
And he probably cleans up crazy ass stains. Like you don't call a carpet cleaner like him unless there's something crazy there. And blood is one of those things that just seems to stain everything. So I'm sure it's happened before. That's one thought. The other thought is like you're saying, he's got the chainsaw. He's got one very aggravated person. It is amazing to me he stuck around as long as he did. Amazing to me he stuck around as long as he did. And then and then to go back to that first part, maybe he just deals with this shit all the time in his line of work. I don't know.
Yeah, it's strange, but at the end of the day, there's like no law that says you can't go to someone's house and clean blood off a carpet. So in his mind, it's a paycheck. Despite all these weird things going on around him, he's trying to be professional, but it's not long until Knoxville comes down the stairs. He's the other player in this sketch, and we didn't mention, but I'm actually not too sure who it is who's playing the
No,
roommate.
I didn't recognize him. Yeah, the quote-unquote homeowner who's talking to the carpet cleaner.
But Knoxville comes down the stairs with a garbage bag and a fake hand poking out of the bag, and it's bloodied up and everything. And he's just having a chat. He's like, hey, buddy, can you come over here? And he's talking to his roommate. I just got to talk to you about something real quick. Hey, carpet cleaner guy, still here, feet planted in place, feet planted there. He's not going anywhere. He's even starting to get his tools out now. So they come back a moment later. He's spraying the carpet down, and he's saying to the guy, I saw on the Discovery Channel this guy who kills people and chops them up into pieces and stuff like that.
And puts them in the freezer or something.
In the freezer, yeah. And obviously you can tell what the carpet cleaner is trying to do here. He's trying to get a reaction to see like, okay, what's going on here? Is this guy going to react if I say something? Am I going to set him off?
Exactly.
Which I think is like a gutsy move. Because if this was real and these guys are really murderers and you're saying shit like that, I think you'd be next.
100%. And like he has a moment when the guy he's talking to leaves to go upstairs to talk to Johnny, and the carpet cleaner like picks up his phone, and I think he's going to call the cops at that point or something, and he doesn't. And I'm like, okay, so he clearly knows this is weird. Like he clearly knows there's something weird. And then the fact that he's bringing it up, I would be playing stupid the whole time until I kind of get a perspective. Why didn't he check the fridge or the freezer. That would have been funny. Like, to get that sense of like, pop it open. If they had like predicted that and put like a human head in there, even better. But it just shows that he's aware there's something weird going on and he sticks with it the whole time. It's crazy that he keeps working, especially as it keeps on going when Johnny starts to get more antagonistic and like, get him out of here. He's got to leave, or like, you're going to be next, or you did this and all that stuff. And it's very clear someone was murdered. And he just sticks around even when he's left alone. I'd be packing up my shit and I'd be gone. And he doesn't. He like stays around there. He's still cleaning up. Like, man, that guy's got balls. More balls than I have. I know that much.
Yeah, and even to pick up the phone, like you said, and call your boss. Like that, if the Discovery Channel comment didn't get you ousted, that would be the end of you right there.
Yeah.
I would not be calling anybody else.
Well, I mean, that made sense to me. That made sense to me because he did it in front of other people to be like, hey, someone knows I'm here and they know where I am. So there's no way you're killing anyone.
But the thing is, it's just, I would have gotten out the minute that I heard a chainsaw.
I agree.
Like, fuck that. I don't care how much the paycheck is. I'm out. The guys get into a fight here. Knoxville starts rolling on the ground with a roommate. They're punching each other. Carpet cleaner to the rescue here. I've got pepper spray, he says. Yeah. I don't know who he's going to pepper spray, if he thinks Johnny's the antagonist here. I'm not really sure what his intentions are.
I think that's how they were painting it. Yeah, it seemed like that.
So, yeah, it's crazy what someone will do in that situation. Like, once they started fighting, that would have been, again, another opportunity to run out the door in my mind. But here he is sticking around.
Maybe that guy just really trusts his skills with pepper spray. He just thinks that no matter what's going down, this guy can protect himself with some pepper spray. Maybe he's really good at it. Maybe he's like a Ninja Turtle, but instead of nunchucks, he's just got those 2 pepper spray containers and he can just kind of spray whoever he wants. It's impressive. But by the way, we talked about in the beginning of this season, I think in like episode 2, we were talking about how there was a scene in the intro where Johnny is naked rolling down the stairs. Yeah. That happens in this one.
Oh, that's this. Oh, you're right.
Yeah, did you miss that?
Yeah. I didn't put 2 and 2 together, but I saw it. And you're right.
Randomly out of nowhere, Johnny just strips down all of his clothes and rolls down. I bet you they thought he was going to leave earlier. And they're like, how do we keep raising the stakes here? And Johnny thinks, I'm going to take off all my clothes and roll down the stairs.
And it's funny, too, because he does that and nobody sees it. Like, the guy's in the kitchen, and when he rolls down the stairs, he's at the entrance of the house. So Johnny...
And he doesn't see.
He basically did that roll for nothing, but I like that it's in there.
He did it for us, Jay. He did it for us.
He did it for us.
Johnny was looking after us.
I wanted to know what that was from. There we go. That's what it was from. A good catch there, Mikey. So, yeah, he's still cleaning the carpet at this point. He's spraying it, and... The sketch basically at this point, like, that guy stuck it out and he did his job. So they get to the end of it and he's going back to his van at this point. He's saying goodbye. And Knoxville's in the balcony there looking out the window and he's yelling at him. He's saying, if you know what's good for you, you'll keep this to yourself, which I feel like at this point in the sketch, the guy's going home. Did you really need that? Did you need to give him that extra, dose of stress and worry, or could you have just let him go?
Honestly, I think Johnny was just amazed that this guy stuck around as long as he did, doing what he did. Like, in every stunt that we've seen where Johnny rolls up with the bloody windshield or with the body in his trunk or something like that, there is always a breaking point with the person he's pranking. This guy didn't have it. He's like, I don't give a fuck. I've cleaned blood before. I'll clean blood again. I've got an appointment 15 minutes from now down the street, and I guarantee you it's going to be another blood stain. I'm not going to ask any questions as long as I get my paycheck. And Johnny's just trying to needle him to see what kind of reaction he can get, and apparently he can't get any.
I wonder if they sign the check in feces. Huh?
You listen, bringing it back to tax season, man. I mean, come on, get some night monkeys involved.
It was your idea, man.
No, I like it.
You came up with that one.
I know, and it was a great idea. Okay. And I'm gonna listen. Right. Tax season is coming up. I'm doing it this time again. See if it works.
Good. You might get a little extra on your return. They'll send you a little nugget back in return. That is the end of the episode, though. Season 3, episode 8, and what a fun one it was. I think before we go, though, we should probably do a rating because I'm getting ahead of myself. So let's do that. Let's do that.
Sure, for rating for Bloody Carpet. I'll go with this one. Listen, almost to the detriment of the sketch, this guy was too willing to play ball, but I loved the fact that then it was just a matter of Johnny seeing how far he could take it. I'm going to give this one I'm going to give this one a 7 out of 10 as well. It's pretty consistent rating for me in this episode across the board. 7 was good. I had some fun with it. Maybe lasted a little bit too long given the fact that we don't get that like big payoff, but I think that's still warranted.
I'm going 7.5 out of 10 on this one, just because I'm with you. Like, I'm right there, man. It could have used maybe a little more of a payoff, but in a sense, the fact that it didn't have a payoff was kind of like to its credit, because it's showing the strength and resilience of this guy who's not even in the show or aware of what's going on. Just like, and maybe it's stupidity, maybe it's not strength and resilience, but it was just entertaining to see the psychology here at play of like, what would happen in this situation if someone didn't break and, you know, they were in on it the whole time. So I found that very interesting. I'm glad we got it in the form that it's in, because it was impressive to see, as you mentioned, the resilience of some people when money and their job is on the line. Holy moly. Makes me feel like we're pretty fortunate to not have a job where we're ever going to be forced to clean up blood after anyone. Yeah, that's right. I think with this episode overall, it had its ups and downs, but I am surprised that for something that I thought was going to be average, I'm looking back at my ratings and I have 2 solid scores here, like 2, you know, close to 10s, Tandem Snowboarding, and this one, The Bloody Carpet. I really enjoyed this episode overall. It surprised me.
I agree.
How about you?
I agree, man. Here's the thing is, I don't think it had that like one major stunt that really wraps it all up. But there were a lot of episodes in this season that didn't have that one major stunt. I mean, you get episode 1 and 2 that ends with like the omelet and nutball, or like thereabouts 1 and 2. This season felt like often they didn't put a bullet or like a button on the episode. And this episode is the same, but I look at my scores, 6s, 7s, and 8s all across the board. Like, I enjoyed it the whole time. It was frenetic. We didn't even get to rating a lot of them, even though they were pretty meaty episodes. This is like what I remember the pacing of Jackass being. And I actually really loved this episode.
Yeah, it was an episode of like moments that kind of just jumped out at you in the rough. And it was those moments that kind of just, they stick with you. And I think this is one that I would even go back and watch again and probably have as good of a time. There's some that you're kind of one and done. I don't need to see that again. This for me was a recommend. So
I mean, that's the thing when an episode doesn't rely on like punchlines, on like big moments, that means that it's just fun and is still good. That means it's just fun to watch all the way through. I agree. I think this is one is very replayable. But with that, Jay, you want to get into our MVPs and LVPs, the most valuable player and least valuable player of this episode?
I do. If you want to let your mustache do the talking.
Chris Pontius singing in France.
Yeah. What'd you think of that?
That was great. You know what? The post-credit sequence was awesome in this one. You do get that little element where Chris Pontius is singing a song in France about needing his mustache to do the talking. They're like, well, you need to grow a mustache, son. He says, no, I do not need to grow a mustache. It's like, okay, I don't know what that means, Chris, but I believe you when you say it.
He's just kind of like, no, I don't want to.
Yes. Yeah.
Just playfully. No, I don't.
And then farther towar's the end of the credits, you get him when he's dancing in his Chippendale outfit in the water tubing, and he's singing the episode fades out as he's saying, man, if I weren't dancing in a strip club for money, I'd be dancing in a strip club for free. Like, that's such a Pontius line, man. Good on him.
Oh, it was great. But yes, I think you're right. Do you want to jump in? We could do some.
I'll jump
MVPs.
in. My MVP is going to be Dave England. You know, I think between the ice blocks where he just absolutely dominated them, and then the resilience and perseverance on the tandem snowboarding, he just brought a lot of the type of vibe to this episode that I love, which is that kind of crazy extreme sport and the ability to put one's body at risk in order to get the good shots.
Fair enough. And I think that's a safe one to go with. Dave England he's just always impressive. The thing is, he's not even like he doesn't do these huge outrageous things all the time, but yet he's been an MVP for us a lot.
Totally.
I feel like.
Totally. It's hey, what did I say? Season 1. Like he is the undefeated. He's the most underrated member of the team. I think he's fantastic. Totally.
I think for mine on the MVP side of things, I would go with, it's clear who it is. It's the carpet cleaning guy. Of course it is.
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
It's like I already said, he's either incredibly stupid or incredibly courageous. But man, if that had been anybody else, I feel like they would have bailed so much sooner. And yet we got a whole sketches worth of entertainment just from watching what that guy was going to do next.
Yeah.
And I think that was the highlight of the episode next to the tandem snowboarding for me, was just seeing how that was going to play out, because you were just on the edge the whole time wondering. So I gave it to him.
That's a good one. That's a very good one. As I mentioned, you always have very good choices in this, sometimes off the board. My LVP choice is off the board as well. my least valuable choice is the ice ramp.
Okay,
it's the ice ramp.
The ice ramp from the hockey rink.
Ice ramp. You had one job, be a ramp, and you failed so hard at it. What are you doing?
Yeah. Part of that was Dunn's fault, though, because like whatever he carved was like I don't know. It's like when you take hardened Play-Doh out of a fucking, and it's kind of like
more crusty than soft at that
shape
point.
That's falling apart at the edges. Yeah, I don't know what he was trying to do there, what his thought process was, but yeah, very poor ramp. I'm with you on that one. Yeah, I think for LVP for me, I already said it, and I don't think I need to go too much into more detail, but it's Bam, man. I like his gusto, and I like the shit he does, but it's just the attitude on this one just irked me out of the gate. Maybe I was just in a mood or something, but I don't know, man. That's it. He's becoming my season one Ryan Dunn for you.
Honestly, I hear it in your voice, and I don't blame you. I don't think he's got an amazing season. Although I do love Skunk Car and a couple of his showings, but a lot of the time it feels like he's just trying to be too cool for school in this season. I agree.
And that's it. That's all she wrote. I think that's it. Like I said, good episode. I'd watch that one again. And if you're watching along with us at home, hey, I don't know, maybe give us your thoughts. We love to hear what you think of Jackass, of us, of the show. You want to leave some feedback, you can leave us a rating. Apple Podcasts, our Spotify has ratings now as well, I believe, and you can leave one there. Just anything you can do to spread the word helps us, or you can, find us and interact with us at Jackast Pod on Instagram and Twitter. So yeah, thanks for listening. Thanks for being here with us once again. Mikey, any closing comments for this edition of the Jackass?
Not quite. We used to be a little bit more interactive, or at least for the past couple of weeks on Instagram. Chris has been, as we mentioned, he's away right now, so he hasn't been able to be quite as active. But over on Twitter, getting some retweets and some replies from the likes of Preston Lacey and Rachel Wolfson, kind of helping us out over there. So join us on the communities, guys. We're doing the best we can to give you some good content, interact with you there, and that's half the reason we do this, is to kind of just make it so that these things are endlessly discussable, and so that everyone has people to go to talk about their favorite episodes of the show.
Yeah, and if there's any part of Chris Ehrenworth left out there in the Cambodian jungle, I think if he were here right now, he would tell you to just go and do it. And he would. He's always looking for a way to pitch this as, how will it benefit you, the listener? Well, I think I have it right here. Listen, it's great for our egos if the numbers go up. Yes. Sure. But I think at the end of the day, as you as the listener, the bigger we get, the more likely we can interact with, as Mikey already said, more of the Jackass crew. For sure. And the affiliates. And that's something that we want to bring to you in the future if we can do it. Give you those interactions, maybe even have someone on a show one day. I don't know. So just, if you have a friend, share it, spread the word, help us get nice and big, harder and faster. And
we broke. If you're following us on Instagram, we broke that top 50 on iTunes, which was pretty big. That was pretty big. Baby. And we'd like to stay getting up there. The best way we can do that, guys, is ratings and reviews on Apple Podcasts. Goes such a long way. Make sure you're subscribed if you're not. And enough of us pandering to you guys. You know the deal. A lot of you have already done it, and we appreciate all that. We do. But can't hurt to tell a friend.
Can't hurt to tell a friend. And it also can't hurt, Mikey, to say goodbye.
Oh, it always hurts to say goodbye.
It always hurts, baby. Always hurts. But I've had a lot of fun here. I'm glad we did this one. We'll be back for one final episode, pending. We'll talk about the gumball thing a little later, probably. One final episode of Season 3. And until then, bye. I'm Jason Wellwood.
Bye. I'm Mikey Ehrenworth. Bye. I'm Chris Ehrenworth. And this has been Jackass.
Furnished by Sad Styles Productions.
Get into it!